Here. All right, guys, we're in Division Four non-select playoff breakdown here on Ballin the Boot. Once again, make sure to go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com, as we have our Gridiron Football bowl game commit announcements. As you see here, there's Bo Webb. This is Franklinton offensive line. We talk about Franklinton having the first round bye. He's a pretty good reason why they have a first round bye. 6'3", 250-pound left tackle with a 4.0 GPA. 28 on the ACT. He's got an offer from Louisiana Christian. Every bowl game commitment announcement, if you go and click on the picture on to the right, every bowl game commit announcement, you can buy your tickets for the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game. So make sure they're pre-sale tickets right now. They're $15. They go up to $20 once the month of December hits. So that is our shout out to the Gridiron Football All American Bowl game. That is what this Ball in the Boot show is sponsored by. So Gridiron Football All American Bowl game. Get yourself tickets for a packed day of football action, and trust me, it will be a packed day of football action coming from me. All right, guys, let's go to Division Four non-select and go over some of the final scores from the first round of the playoffs. Number one, Haynesville will have a bye. The good thing about the second round, all the teams will be involved. So all the teams that had a bye in the first round, they'll get to play and get their first taste of playoff football. They'll take on number 16 Montgomery. Montgomery had to sweat that one out, 42-40 in the first round. Welch able to get a 59-24 win over West St. Mary. And guys, we have breaking news. Faraday and Lake Arthur. If you see on the screen, it's pending. Well, the decision's been made. Faraday has been eliminated from the playoffs. Faraday had a 30-7 win over Lake Arthur, but that has been ruled a forfeit now because there was a brawl at the end of the football game with both teams. And the rule is they'll just say, hey, if both teams leave the bench area in the brawl, then those teams will be eliminated and will be suspended for the next game. That means Welsh will have a bye into the quarterfinals. So that was a big news there. So big news today with both Faraday and U High being eliminated from
Yeah.
North Iberville. How about this, guys? North Iberville's first playoff win since 1988 when they were Shady Grove High School. Remember, this team is just getting back to varsity action this year. The last time this was a varsity team, we had to go back into 2009 when North Iberville was a varsity team. But congratulations to North Iberville on a monumental playoff win over Oberlin. They'll take on General Trask, who gets a 64-20 win over Centerville in the first round. Grand Lake, they had to squeak by Jonesboro High. Give a shout out to Coach Blankenship, who helps us a lot with the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game. They lost 23-20. I knew that was going to be a sneaky game they'll keep an eye out for, but Grand Lake able to survive that challenge, and now they'll take on Jeanerette in the next round. The Quincy will take on Franklin, who made a statement. A lot of people were saying White Castle was the trendy pick, but Franklin says, hey, we're the trendy pick, as they made a statement over White Castle, 44-0. Big shout out to Franklin on a huge win, a statement win there. Elton with a 22-18 win over Brazil, close game there, but Elton, the Indians, able to move to the second round. They'll take on a very good Logansport team. Coach McGee's got over 100 wins this year. Congratulations to Coach Kevin McGee as they defeated Varno 61-0. In this game, side note here for Varno ran into traffic and went his way to the game, and the game was not played until 8:30 that night because of it. So, but they got the game in, and Logansport able to handle business 61.
They unfortunately got the game in.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a rough day for Varno. The traffic and the actual game itself. Mangum, which is a team I have making the run to the Superdome, defeats East Iberville 63-28 to take on West St. John. That should be a really good football game. West St. John defeated Arcadia 40-6. And then this was Grant. Sorry, Grant, your pick to go to the state championship game lost first round. Homer loses to East Louisiana 6-0 in the first round of the playoffs as they will take on South Plaquemines in the second round. So East Louisiana trying to play spoiler once again in the second round of the playoffs. Those are your first round scores and your second round matchups. Alex, I'm gonna start off with you. Any of these first round matchups or scores stand out to you the most?
A lot of them for once, right? We haven't talked a lot about the first round in a lot of these, but there's a lot to go over here. I think we sort of got a, as much as the individual results are in some cases really shocking. We got a sort of bracket that I think is going to line up a lot with what we were expecting with this bracket in general, which is the top side of the bracket is Haynesville and everyone else, and it's going to be kind of chalky and who knows, whatever. The bottom side of the bracket, who knows? Nobody has any idea. I mean, we picked, Grant picked Homer to make it out of this bracket to get the state championship. They're already out. White Castle was the C team. They didn't just get eliminated. They got body bagged. They're dead. I think Franklin might have to, stand trial for murder after watching that, after having that happen.
Yeah.
Just got
Nobody saw
shellacked.
that coming. Yeah.
Nobody thought that was going to happen. Homer gets shut out. We see a lot of not close games, but not necessarily the result we were expecting, like with the Franklin White Castle game. So this is we get the Logansport Varno game. Varno had to travel 5.5 hours to get to Logansport.
Yeah.
The game started at 8:30. Now it was close, and it wasn't. What I mean, that was not the word I meant to use. Sorry. It was probably a shorter game because of probably a running clock later on. Because of
running clock. Yeah.
But they probably still didn't get out of the. They probably still didn't finish the game until 11, maybe 11, probably 11ish, 10:30 to 11, and which means they didn't get home until 5 in the morning.
That's just a whole rough experience.
I mean, that is miserable.
Yeah.
That is the worst. I feel so bad for them. So I think we're going to get a lot of that. Of absolutely throw a dart at the dartboard for the bottom side of the bracket for who's going to make it out of it. Maybe Mangum looked fine, so maybe they can still your shot. I don't even remember who I took in this.
Yeah,
I don't even remember. At this point, it's like, who the hell knows? But as we know, going into this next week, we'll probably get some crazy stuff happening in a game again, and it'll just be a mess. Who knows? But lots of interesting games here, absolutely, to talk about.
All right, Daryl. What about you? I mean, a lot of upsets. This was really the bracket with the most chaos. I feel like as far as the first round is concerned, out of all the brackets.
Yeah, I mean, like Alex said, it was a very eventful weekend for this bracket. But the game that probably stood out to me the most was the Franklin versus White Castle 44-0 shutout win. Because like we said, a lot of people were very high on White Castle, considering them to even make a run deep into the playoffs. And Franklin showed up and heard none of it. 44-0. That's a win right there. So looking forward now, I mean, they're going up against a team that's coming off a bye, DeQuincy. I mean, it's tough to count them out, So that's kind of one game where I'm looking like, it might be a little tougher than they thought it was going to be. So yeah, that was really a big win. And North Iberville as well, like you said, first year returning back to varsity, and you come out, start the playoffs off with a 44-6 win. That's a big win for them. So I definitely think that matchup against General Trash, I think that could be a good matchup as well. So yeah, I'm excited for this bracket. But like Alex said though, I think the top side of this bracket is kind of we're all kind of expecting Haynesville to come out of it. But I mean, after the first week, you never know, because a lot of things got shaken up this week. So
absolutely. Now that's a great segue. Let's talk about these second round matchups for a chance to make the quarterfinals. Number 1, Haynesville is number 16, Montgomery. Haynesville's been dominant all year. You want to see how dominant they've been? That's a lot of W's on the scoreboard right there, right? Look at the scores this year. 35-7, 58-24. Okay, they struggled 27-12. Okay, that was a struggle. 51-0, 45-6, 46-0, 52-8, 43-8, 56-13, 51-6. That
So
has been
a couple of
Haynesville's
things
year.
I just want to touch on with Haynesville real quick. Go back to their schedule. First off, there's a reason. This is the reason why Grant picked Homer. Probably, I mean, other than like the team itself. But if you're looking at track records, Homer gave him the best game all season. So you're like, okay, maybe they can. And also, Homer's a two-way school in this, which matters a lot.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out. So now we're looking at a Haynesville team that is grossly blowing out every team in their level, like every 1A team they're playing, and this might get really ugly.
Yeah, sorry, Montgomery. That was a thrilling win for Vinton, but congratulate you. Won by 2 points, but you got Haynesville. So good luck with that. That's what I want to say. I'm sure all of us are picking Haynesville to move on to the next round.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so Welsh, y'all know the situation with that. Faraday has been eliminated. LHSA has pulled out the ruling for that. So Faraday has been eliminated from the playoffs for their brawl after the game. That is really unfortunate because that would have been a great matchup between Faraday and Welsh. But Faraday, you got be composed in the playoffs. I mean, the game was already won. Lake Arthur was going to get under your skin. You gotta be composed in those situations. And unfortunately, they lost their cool, and unfortunately, they lost their spot in the playoffs. Now, Welsh would have an automatic trip to play Haynesville. All right, so North Iberville. This is an interesting matchup. North Iberville. They've been a great story this year. Their only 2 losses this year were against White Castle, the team we were just talking about, right? They got lost 44-0. They lost to White Castle and Ascension Catholic with Chad Elsie. So great season this year for North Iberville, but they're playing General Trask, who has experience. They made the semifinals a couple times before. North Iberville, the problem is they haven't had as much playoff experience as General Trask has. This year, it's been kind of an up and down year. 6-4. Their 4 losses: Walsall Christian, Carroll, Delta Charter in an 84-82 game in 4 overtimes.
You know,
Yeah. We thought that
Dang.
Evangel Christian Calvary, that Captain Shreve game was something that was cute. This is 84-82. So that was basketball numbers there, and they lost to St. Frederick 40-0. But that is going to be intriguing. I know General Trask is more of an experienced team, but North Iberville is that type of year this year, man. That they're at home. It's going to be rocking over there too at North Iberville as well, close by Maryland, Louisiana. So, yeah, I'm going to go with North Iberville. Coach Gass is doing a great job. It's a home game. Jeremy Favorite's done a great job running the football for them this year. I'm going to go with the Bears and Bear Country getting the win.
yeah, I feel the same way. I like North Iberville here to win this game. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Dale.
Yep. Same here. I think, like you said, I mean, North Iberville, they're coming back. They're fresh off. I think home game, like you said, is going to be absolutely rocking. Stands are going to be packed out. And yeah, I think just this is what the school has been waiting on. And yeah, I think the team's going to pull it out.
Lots of momentum here, and I think the team's just better. So.
Yeah, it's going to be rocking in Rosedale. I tell you, it'll be rocking down there in Bear Country. They've been waiting for a long time for this moment, so it's going to be a great atmosphere down there. It could be a historical moment for the North Iberville football program. Jeanerette and Grand Lake. Grand Lake has been to the Superdome before. They were a great story back in 2020 when they made the state championship after the hurricane happened that wiped a lot of Lake Charles, and they made the Superdome. Made the state championship. That was a great story. This year, it's been kind of an up and down year. They started off the season great. They had 3 straight losses in a row, and they finished the season with 4 straight wins. They squeaked by, though, last week against Jonesboro Hodge. Had to find a way. That's what matters in the playoffs, though, is find a way to win, no matter how pretty or ugly it looks. Now, Jeanerette has been pretty impressive this year as well. This is a really good football team, and they've only lost, I think, 2 games all year. So we are going with Jeanerette, a lot of talent, a lot of good athletes on that football team, and Jeanerette, or y'all going to go with Grand Lake?
Give me Generette, but I think it's this is one of those situations where football doesn't always make sense, right? Where Genneret's coming off a bye, they're rested, they're the more talented team, all of that sort of stuff. And Grand Lake just struggled with Jonesboro Hodge. Not to disparage Jonesboro Hodge too much, it's a really that's a really good performance from them to almost pull out the win. But you're looking at a team because in a round full of blowouts in round one, we're looking at a team that didn't blow out Jonesboro Hodge, right? And so a lot of that points to Generate, maybe would win the game handily. I think maybe there is it doesn't always work out as cleanly as it looks on paper. I will take Generate, but I think maybe there could be some interesting things happening in a game like this.
Oh, absolutely. What do you think about you, Daryl?
Kind of following up on like Alex said, I'm going to roll with Generette. But just one thing that stood out to me from looking at Grand Lake's schedule was their loss to DeQuincy, who's the number 3 seed in the bracket, and it was a 1-possession game. So, I mean, it's a big game for them, just being able to hang around against a top team like that. So I definitely think, I'm not sure what happened in round one. I'm not sure if that's their game where they're in a lot of close games, but they find a way to pull it out, or if they were really struggling with Jonesboro Hodge. But I definitely think this will be a decently close game, but I have Generette pulling it out in the end.
All right, so we have Generette pulling that game out, and then we have DeQuincy against Franklin. Franklin this year, they've been kind of up and down. It's kind of like what did you get from this football team, right? So they are 5-5. They were able to get that win, so they're 6-5 this year. But when they're on, they are on. They won 26-0. They won 38-7, 46-19, and you saw that 44-0 score over White Castle. The Quincy, on the other hand, we talk about them. They've been a really feel-good story this year. One loss this year. That was a 2-point loss to ERAF, 30-28. And you see all their other wins this year. They defeated Grand Lake 10-7, Hamilton Christian 32-13. For the most part, they've handled business, but DeQuincy hasn't really been in this situation before as far as being that top team, that top seed. So how they handle it coming after the bye will be very interesting. And Franklin's building a lot of confidence after that 44-0 win. So who do y'all have here? Y'all have DeQuincy coming off the bye, or the team with confidence coming in after a shutout win over White Castle?
I'll go ahead and go first. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take Franklin. I'm going to take Franklin to win this game. This is a couple of things. We talk about how I've mentioned a few times how a blowout win in the first round doesn't always move the needle that much for me because it's who's the team that you're playing. White Castle's not some like juggernaut or anything, but they were a sleeper for a reason. Yeah. And so this is a team with a pulse, and it just again, like might be people in the stands might need to be deposed as witnesses for murder there. To just get slaughtered in a game like that does carry weight. To me, that says if Franklin has this performance against a DeQuincy team that, I think most people would expect them to win this game going into it, and I would have too, but they're not like a team that we have some insane amount of confidence with going into the year, going into this bracket. So, and it's a team that's not used to this. It's a team that's maybe not used to coming off of a bye and how to prepare for that, how to adequately do that. This might be a team that the bye actually hurts, and this is a team for Franklin that last week did not hurt them at all. Franklin is a very inconsistent team. Their best performance will beat DeQuincy. Yeah, I am of that opinion. So it's just a question of what Franklin team do we get. They could win by 20. They could lose by 20. Neither would shock me. I will take Franklin to pull off the upset here.
Yeah. All right. So Alex is going with the upset, the trendy pick. Daryl, what about you?
I mean, kind of like Alex said, like we don't try to value the first round matchups too much because a blowout is a blowout, but 44-0 on the road, it's tough. I mean, it's not too many teams that can do that, especially against a good team like White Castle. So, like he said, they've shown inconsistency over the course of the season, though. So I think this game is more so up to Franklin. If they show up and they're going to have to win the game. I don't think DeQuincy is going to lose this game. I think that Franklin is going to have to take this game from them. And if they do that, they'll win. But if not, if you know, if they show up on that inconsistent side just even a little bit, I think DeQuincy is going to pull it out. So I'll roll with DeQuincy, but I love to see Franklin win. I love to see them win. So.
Well, it looks like I'm the tiebreaker. We got DeQuincy and we got Franklin. So I'm going to be the tiebreaker, guys. I'm going to roll with, process by elimination, right? I had White Castle as that trendy pick to beat DeQuincy. Well, you get trounced by Franklin. By default, you're that team now. So I'm going to go with Franklin. And that was a impressive performance. Coach Johnson has done a good job with this program. We haven't talked about Franklin really as much before Coach Johnson took that program over. Got a lot of really good athletes on that football team. Franklin's got some studs, man, and they showed it against White Castle. And right now, if you're playing like this, a big win like this can really catapult your team. And being on the road, winning like that on the road, they're in that mode already. I like this Franklin team. I think they're playing with house money here with not really nothing much to lose. DeQuincy's got a lot of pressure being the high seed too at home. So I'm going to go with Franklin. I'm going to roll with the Hornets here to continue to sting the competition. I see what he did there. So, move on to the next round. But I got Franklin. Let's talk about the next game, Logansport, which is – we're talking about teams right now that are standing out. Logansport can definitely be a team that can make the Dome, guys. Logansport is a really good football team. They made the Dome before. They won state championships before under Kevin McGee. I know I've had Mangum as my trendy pick, but Logansport is looking tougher and tougher as the minute goes by. They're going to take on Elton this year. Elton's been an interesting team this year. They've scored a lot of points in their wins, but they've also given up a lot of points in losses. They lost 46-22, lost 42-28, lost 42-15, but they've scored 45, 44, 54, 46 in their wins. So this is a team that scores a lot, but they've also given up a lot of points. And Logansport can put up a lot of points on the scoreboard. You see it, they won 63-0, 46-6, 40-8, 55-0, 49-6. Logansport is definitely a team that can win it all, or at least compete with Haynesville. So yeah, I'm going to go with Logansport here to defeat Elton.
Yep, same here for me. I'm going to roll with Logansport as well. I mean, yeah, it's pretty simple on that one.
I will say I don't think we talk about round one performance is not moving the needle. I could not care less about Logansport beating Varno because of not only is Varno not a great team, but also the situation around the game has to make it more difficult, and it's already a ridiculous road trip, and the game starts late and all of that. So, I mean, but Logansport's also been beating the crap out of everybody they've been playing over the last month. So. And Elton, I don't think this is the team to do it. I would definitely say right now Logansport's the favorite, and we're looking at a little bit here. I would put them in the semifinals as of right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think Logansport gets to the semifinals. Whether or not they get past that, we'll talk about. But I think
we're in a bracket. We're in a bracket now where nobody knows what's happening. No reason not to think that a team that has been shellacking everybody for the last month could not be the one to get to the Dome and be the one to challenge Haynesville potentially. So we'll have to see though. But Logansport absolutely in this game.
Another pick, and this is actually my pick. At least they're still alive right now in this bracket for now, but they could definitely lose this week with this trend. But I had Mangum going to the state championship game to represent the bottom side of the bracket. You see West St. John this year. They've done a better job. This is a West St. John program that was a proud championship program. They were competing for state championships, winning state championships. They were really talented. They were really the top of the class a couple years ago. Now they've had some down years, but they're finally getting back to that rhythm. West St. John went to our media day. They're excited about this year, and they've had a great season so far, 7-3. It's just been a great year for them. But I mean, I like this Mangum football team. They made some. Scott Wilcher's a really good football coach. They made some deep runs in the playoffs as well before. They got a really good coaching staff on their squad too. They're my trendy pick to go to the state championship game. They're 7-3, but look at their losses. They lost to Gina 26-22. They lost to Oak Grove 26-20. Now the exception was Wallstar Christian. They lost 50-16. But besides that, they played close with Gina. They played close with Oak Grove. I had Oak Grove my state champion pick, and they beat everybody else pretty single-handedly. They had great defense, great running game. They're physical. Mangum. That's why Mangum's a trending pick, in my opinion, to go to the Superdome.
Yeah, like you said, I'm going to roll with Mangum as well. I do think this has the possibility to be a good game as well. I think this is probably one of the most wide open brackets that we've covered. Like it's almost like every game can kind of go either way, however you want to flip it. So I'm going to roll with Mangum as well. But I think West St. John will put up a good fight.
I think this will be a really interesting game. If we're looking at games, to keep on the theme of this bracket, this bottom half of this bracket of being like, who the hell knows what's going to happen? It feels very on brand for West St. John to actually win this game. As illogical and nonsensical as it might be, and that's nothing against West St. John. Like that's a good team. It's part of the point. But Mangum being one of these trendy picks to be a favorite to get to the Dome. I will take Mangum, but yeah, it wouldn't shock me if we just out of nowhere, and this feels like the sort of game where Mangum, everything's going right for them, and they lose like 23-0, and we're like, where did this come from? It feels like we're going to get one of these games. It feels like we're going to get one of these games every week in this bracket, and this could be that game. We'll have to see, but I'll take Mangum.
All right, and that leads us to the last matchup in this playoff bracket, East Feliciana and South Plaquemine. South Plaquemine, I talk about impressive losses this year. They gave Newman all that they can handle. I think they lost the district championship. I think it was 27-24. This is South Plaquemine against Newman. So this is a really good South Plaquemine football team. Coach Fitt does a good job with his football team, with his football program. Got to see him a little bit earlier in the spring with Amy, and I thought they competed well against an Amy team that can definitely make a run to the state championship. They're 7-3 this year. They defeated East Jefferson in overtime. Remember, East Jefferson's a 5A playoff winner. Their three losses came against Newman 24-21. That was the final score. Livingston Collegiate Academy 26-9, and Bell Chase 35-12. And East Feliciana, I mean, I've seen them this year. I've called their games against Episcopal, so I know a little bit about them. Ryan Moore is a really good football player. He scored all of their points against Episcopal, so I've seen him. He's an exciting football player to watch. And they had I would say the upset of the first round, or up there with defeating Homer, which is a trendy pick to make a run to the state championship game. Their losses were against Kentwood, St. Helena. I talked about Episcopal. It was 43-20. I thought they played pretty well against Episcopal for the most part. Lost to Sarah Char 21-6, and Dunham 49-6. So will East Feliciana get the upset, or will South Plaquemines move on? I think South Plaquemines will move on. I would have been a little nervous that Homer won this football game with the teams that they played, but East Feliciana, against some of the teams that they're expected to lose, they haven't been able to, besides Homer, haven't been able to do that. So I'm gonna roll with South Plaquemines here. And I think they built some confidence knowing that they can play with anybody when you lose to Newman by 3 points.
Yeah, I feel very similarly about South Plaquemine. I think they'll end up winning the game here, and Homer was the scarier opponent, and so for Homer to fall, I think makes things a little bit easier. We'll see how things go if they were to play Mangum in the quarterfinals, but let's go ahead and focus on this week for now. Just the game here, which I think sets up pretty nicely for them to be able to win.
Yeah, like you guys said, I don't think East Feliciana will be able to shut out South Plaquemines like they did Homer. I think this is going to be a win for South Plaquemines.
Mm-hmm. I agree, guys. So that's our Division 4 non-select playoff bracket breakdown. Once again, make sure to go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com. We got all kinds of content there. Probably too much content, by the way. And we're also going to have our Gridiron Football Player of the Week nominees being posted as you're watching the show. So make sure to vote. Make sure to donate. We're accepting donations for votes as well. But you can also vote as many times as possible. We're in the playoffs, so that means there's less and less of these to give out. So make sure, I definitely encourage to vote and cheer on your player of your choosing, as we'll have this on our website as you're watching the show. So appreciate Daryl and appreciate Alex for all of our other bracket breakdowns. No, Grant wasn't able to join us, but for all of our other bracket breakdowns, make sure to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure to go to gridironfootballusa.com.